Good evening, everyone. This is Kendall with Aspire Counseling and Wellness Center. Happy Sunday to you all. Happy Palm Sunday. It's Palm Sunday, right? I hope that everyone is enjoying this very mild Sunday. I actually just got back into my parents' house after walking. I think today I did 2.5 miles. So I feel a bit accomplished. But this is going to be, I'll start with April is National Counseling Awareness Month. So I wanted to take it upon myself to kind of illuminate for those who may not be aware, and just to reiterate for those who are, what's the purpose of therapy? Why go to counseling? Why can it be beneficial? How can it help improve your life? How can it help improve your mental and physical well-being? What's the point? I think that there are a great many benefits to seeking out mental health care, taking care of your holistic wellness, and I will do everything that I possibly can in my nature to be an advocate for destigmatizing mental illness and be an advocate for seeking out mental health assistance from a licensed professional. So I believe that's part of my calling on this earth, right? But before I kind of get into some benefits of therapy, I kind of want to give you some statistics about maybe what mental health numbers-wise looks like in the United States. And the research that I've done dates back to around 2018, so it's still very relevant. So did you know that 1 in 5 adults in the United States suffers from a mental illness, be it anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia? 1 in 5 adults in the United States. And I'm going to assume that's of the diagnosed cases, because of course we know that there's lots of undiagnosed mental illness that we encounter on a daily basis. 1 in 6, this is the part that scares me. 1 in 6 youth from ages 6 to 17 have a mental health disorder each year in the United States. 1 in 6 young people in the United States, ages 6 to 17, struggle with a mental illness. That's a lot. Here's another statistic. 50% of all mental illness begins by age 14. And about 75% of all mental illness begins around the age of 24. So if you think about when you were in, what is 14? That's high school? No, that's like the end of middle school to high school. So the end of middle school, when life is very challenging, having worked in a middle school majority of my career, I know how tumultuous those years can be for our students. And I can definitely attest to that. I've witnessed students that had undiagnosed and some diagnosed mental illness. And it's not necessarily the easiest thing to accept or deal with during such a tumultuous time in your life. And when I was 24, and I think I graduated, I was out of college, but that is such a time, potentially a time of confusion, because you're really trying to figure out, what does my life look like? What do I want to, what am I doing professionally, friends, socially, these plans that you have. So those are some very uncertain times to have a diagnosis of a mental illness. But 50% of all mental illness starts by the age of 14 and 75 by the age of 24. So that, lets us know that there's, I think, a great opportunity for us to be able to intervene when we notice that something might be off, or if we have an inkling, without denying that there could be a potential issue. And I'll say that based off the research, the number one mental illness with a 19.1% prevalence in the United States, which was about 48 million people, was anxiety and anxiety diagnosis. There are roughly 19% of the United States population struggles with an anxiety diagnosis. And looking at it from an economic standpoint, across the U.S. economy, mental illness causes $193 $193.2 billion in lost earnings. $193.2 billion in lost earnings due to struggling with mental illness. So not only is mental illness a personal thing, a potential community thing, it's also an economic thing. So what that tells me is that to approach it, to mitigate the effects of mental illness, it has to be a multifaceted approach, including, continuing to destigmatize the notion of mental illness and mental health assistance, because it's affecting so many different areas of our lives at early ages, and it becomes very pervasive, meaning deeply entrenched or problematic, if we're not seeking the appropriate assistance, or if we don't have the appropriate assistance available for communities that are in need. And we know that there are communities in need. So when we talk about what are some reasons that people seek out mental health care, or what are some of the benefits that people seek out mental health care, once they, realize that they're struggling with something, they're accepting it, they're in the activation stage of the stages of change, they've sought out the appropriate professional. These are, doing some research and just of my own knowledge, these are some reasons that, I found that people go to therapy, right? So for one, your friends and your family cannot be the only outlet that you have for the problems that you have. They, in most cases, our family means well, but they have a biased view. And there may be times when you are venting or sharing your personal experience with family that people just don't understand. They have a limited perspective of what your specific issue is. Or they see your issue through what they've already experienced. So they give you advice from how they have dealt with something. And that may not necessarily work for you. So seeking out a professional is going to provide you with an unbiased, objective perspective to allow you to see things differently. In addition, there could be something that someone may say, offering their best advice that feels very judgmental, and that could cause a rift between you and a loved one. So in order to, avoid, and I'm not saying don't share with your family, but, there are boundaries, right? You want to seek out a licensed professional that you can share the ins and outs, the intimate details of what it is that you're experiencing with. And on another point, it gives you the opportunity to share information without censoring yourself. Because, when we talk to friends and family, we may get in our head like, oh, I don't want to share too much, because what if they think this or if they think that? And that, you're not able to fully show up with them to get the appropriate way in which to see your situation, handle your situation, a better way to do things. So that's one reason why, because friends and family cannot be your only outlet. Another reason is seeking therapy, speaking with a licensed professional, allows you to realize a different perspective, an alternative perspective to your situation. When we're going through something, it's very easy to get locked and loaded in how we see it. So a therapist is trained to help you kind of expand your thinking, open your mind, look at the potential additional perspectives and ways in which to either assess a situation, see a situation, handle a problem that you may be experiencing, the presenting problem that you have, and validate the experience that you're having. They validate, build that therapeutic relationship, and try to help you to see that there could potentially be multiple ways of addressing something. Maybe we're coming at it from a cognitively distorted way, that black and white thinking is either this or that. And a lot of times it's not. But when we're mired in a situation, it's very difficult to see how there are multiple lenses in which to view and to correct, what we're going through. So it gives you the opportunity to have some distance from you and your problem when you can see it from a different perspective. Number 3, self-care. I am all about self-care. I will be doing a post in the coming weeks about self-care. But seeking therapy is an act of self-care. Like we said before, if you have a pained tooth, you're going to go to a dentist, if you're able to. If you have a stomach pain and a headache, you're going to seek out the appropriate professional to help you ameliorate that problem. Well, the same goes for therapy. There are things that we go through that a licensed professional can help you to contend with, to better figure out how to deal with. And self-care is doing the thing that's going to benefit you holistically, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health. And seeking a professional is one of those things to do. And again, like I said before, you get the opportunity to talk about sensitive details without having to censor yourself, without having to pick and choose, well, at least when you're comfortable, when you've built that therapeutic rapport, when you feel a trusting bond between you and the therapist that you've chosen to do this work with. That's what happens. It's kind of like, let me just spill the beans. What do I have to lose? Because if you're not going to be completely honest, then you could potentially limit the work that you could do and the success that can come out of, the therapeutic relationship and doing this for yourself. So being in therapy is an act of self-care, and seeking out a mental health professional, someone that can assist you in identifying what are other ways in which you can better care for yourself. And also, I've worked with clients where they didn't understand that taking care of myself is benefiting everybody around me. So kind of helping you to reframe the notion of self-care is selfish. It's not. Self-care is an act of self-preservation. It is the best thing that you can do for yourself, the people that you love, and the community that you serve. So another one is being in therapy could allow you to, I think I was just touching on this, discover new ways of coping. That is one of the reasons why people go to therapy, is because their present level of functioning and coping isn't working. And when they've made that decision to activate and to work and to learn new ways of being, learn new ways of responding, put more in healthy ways in which to cope instead of shoving, away or numbing what they feel. They add to their repertoire of successful coping, positive coping, healthy coping, which allows them to, generalize these ways, the strategies into multiple areas of their life. So they become a bit more independent. They become stronger. They become more self-aware of not just triggers and things like that, but how do I respond to this thing that used to once really set me off? I've learned that maybe instead of going off, it's best for me to take a deep breath and walk away. And, kind of give myself some space to gather my thoughts, identify how I feel, figure out a new way of approaching a situation, and then I can act. So all of that can come out of therapy, working with a licensed professional in a non-judgmental way. And lastly, one of my big things is therapy allows you to hopefully identify the silver lining in your challenge. Y'all know that I'm on and I've always been on the silver lining mindset. That's my thing. That's part of my whole outlook to mental health is, what is the situation trying to teach me? Or what can I learn? How do I open my perspective to find the lesson in this challenge? And right now we're all dealing with a collective challenge, coronavirus. I really wanted to say that in my Cardi B voice. But identifying the silver lining, practicing that gratitude. What is it that I can learn about myself, the way I communicate, the way I speak to myself, the way that I commune with others, the way I respond to others, how I manage my stress? What is it that I can learn and improve upon in this presenting problem that I have? And being in therapy will provide you the space, to be able to do that I think in a more effective manner, without judgment, with self-compassion, giving yourself the time, and learning how not to limit yourself. There are so many ways that we can see a situation, and the way, if we choose to see it from a strengths perspective, like, yeah, this sucks. However, this is how I can grow, then you might see more benefits and you may come out stronger. But if we shut down, and not allow ourselves to fully experience what it is that we're going through, and we only see it as problematic, which, at some point we have to just recognize, I feel how I feel. I don't like it, right? I don't like being cooped up in the house all day. I don't like the fact that I can't see people that I care about, or go do the things that I want to do. But there is a lesson in the situation if I choose to shift my focus and see it that way. So the challenge that we're enduring can also be a catalyst for change and for growth if we choose to allow it to be, if we give ourselves whole space for ourselves for that to actually happen. So I just wanted to share those few tips on why therapy, why counseling, why. And I hope that it made some sense for you. As always, if you have any additional questions, you want any more information, you want to consult with me about any type of mental health situation or issue, or you're looking for a therapist in your area, please either send me a message on my Facebook page, or you can email me directly at kendall.tyson@aspirecounselingwell.com. You can check out my website, www.aspirecounselingwell.com. Please subscribe to my website. I would love, and it's free, I would love for you to be able to join the Aspire tribe. And I'll be, I'm working during this whole quarantine situation on improving some things that I do, right? I'm trying to figure out the silver lining. Every day is not easy, but I have to practice what I preach, right? So again, you can follow me on Instagram at Aspire CWC. You can follow me on Twitter at the same handle, Aspire CWC. I would love to be able to partner with people if they're interested in, promoting that message of mental health and wellness in all communities. So I'm available. We're literally all available right now. Just know that, like I always say, your transformation begins today. You just have to act. And with that, I thank you all for joining me for this Facebook Live on why therapy. Please like and share. You can put any questions or comments under. I love reading them. And until the next time, y'all have a marvelous Sunday. Thank you.